To give you some sense of how the market's changed and what's happening right now in this space, which is nothing short of incredible, today, Hank just threw this little fun fact at me. It's a little sad, but it's amazing. More people have mobile phones and mobile phone access than have direct access to clean drinking water on the planet. Just to give you a sense of the scale of what we're dealing with here. Smartphones, the products that we mostly work on today, will surpass all PC shipments within the next 2 years. So, you know, when we started this business, as I said, the future of personal computing was mobile. We just thought that was just a crazy statement. We are about to surpass the shipment of all PCs just with the smartphone segment of these products. And on top of that, the forecast from all the pundits out there has doubled in the last 2 years. So it used to be, just 2 years ago, if you looked at IDC and some of the other forecasts for smartphones, it said there would be 250 million of them in 2012. Now it's going to be 500 million sold. Okay, so in that shorter period of time, you can see the acceleration that's happening there. Next year, smartphones will actually eclipse the shipment of feature phones in North America. 3 years into the true availability of internet access on mobile devices, 3 years into it, where you could really do real internet access on mobile computers, it's 4 times the users. 4 times the users as was on desktop PCs 3 years into the real usage of those. So it's, you know, just this massive hockey stick on interaction with internet-based applications. And another little interesting fact is that within the last 3 years, the iPhone has become almost double the revenue at Apple than the Macintosh delivers to them, which is pretty amazing since the entire company was based on that not so long ago. So a few thoughts of mine on the future of mobility. Obviously, one of the really easy things is everything's going to be faster, higher resolution. It's probably all going to have 3D UI, more bandwidth on all the networks, longer battery life, all the things that we all will love and use regularly. I think you'll see many more complex tasks start to seem so simplified, more like making a phone call, just like person-to-person communication. As an example, why should I have to go up on my PC to do my check-in at the airport? Why doesn't it know when I walk into the airport that I'm coming to my flight and automatically download my boarding passes to my phone, which gets scanned at the, you can get your boarding passes on your phone now, but why wouldn't that just happen instead of me even have to think about it? So a lot more things like that will start happening with the location-based capabilities that are in the networks and the bandwidth that we have. I think the systems are going to gather more and more personal data on you, which of course is going to be a very slippery slope that we're going to have to manage. But as it does that, there's a very high probability that these systems will start to think ahead for you. For instance, why shouldn't it send a message to someone I'm having a meeting with if the meeting's starting in 10 minutes and I'm a half an hour away by car? So it should know my meeting's starting, it knows who my meeting's with, and so it should just do that for me. And those types of things will start happening as we understand the information that's on your devices. I think you're going to see integrated phones that are based completely on IP technology in the way that at some point we're all phone, text, web, and everything's going over IP, which will seriously cut the network services costs. And ultimately, you know, what Jeff had said, which is the device will be the center of your entire user experience and your existence, in the sense of your day in and day out usage pattern as you go through your day, both in your personal and business life.
This vision that everything would have an operating system in your hand, you know, as the smartphone penetration increases, our ability to simply write applications that do incredible things like move text, move pictures, move voice over your data channels. And in particular, the big transformational event in the application space was Apple's iTunes application store. They took 100% consistent user experience across all the devices, and they said, this is how the store will work. And by the way, they had 100 million credit cards hooked up to iTunes, so they were bigger than PayPal when they started. But now, as a guy in a little office in Silicon Valley, we can write this software, and we could just, we've had 30 million people download our software. 30 million. It took how long did it take to sell 30 million Palm Pilots? It was years and years and years, right? It was towards the end.
Yeah.
So that application layer for us has been a transformative event, and I think it's going to continue to have a huge impact on the future of mobile.
Good.
AT&T, in this year alone, will invest $19 billion in network infrastructure. There's a huge opportunity. That's a great big pie. We'd like to see Irish companies become more engaged and have more innovation and activities with us as we invest that significant dollar amount. To echo some of Ed's comments earlier on the growth of the smartphones and the activities that we're seeing around device penetration overall, 50% of our subscribers today have a device that is internet capable, that has a keyboard on it. That's our current population of users. We'll see about 70% in our sales in our retail stores going forward starting to engage. So there's a phenomenal opportunity to take advantage of the install base of smartphone subscribers that are out in the market and start to leverage those for applications and services. So first theme is around the devices and the capabilities of those devices. The second is the investment and the opportunity around that investment. The third is we are seeing unprecedented technology convergence. And that unprecedented technology convergence takes its form in LTE. LTE is a fancy acronym for IP technology or IP capabilities. What that really means in layman's terms is that you're seeing the merger of the internet capabilities with traditional wireless protocols and wireless telco. It is going to create an application ecosystem. For some of the folks that are up here are already taking advantage of it, but this is a tremendous opportunity for Irish companies to leverage that. There's one very familiar American expression that I want to leave this group with today, and I used this in some of the feedback sessions that we had, and that is shoot ahead of the rabbit. Shoot ahead of the rabbit means you have to anticipate where things are going, and you have to take advantage of that, and you have to be on spot to lead. And I really wanted this group to shoot ahead of the rabbit, think about what's going to be happening over the next couple of years, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and start to get focused on the future, and the opportunities will follow you.
Great. Tom?
Yeah, so two things from me. So first of all, it's really nascent. To go back to some of the numbers Ed was throwing out, it's still the case. We have over 6 billion people on the planet. 5 billion people have a mobile subscription today. Only 1 billion have a 3G subscription. And even last Q3 just passed, 77 million smartphones were sold. So 4 out of 5 phones are still not smartphones. So it's really early days. We're just putting our toes in the water here. We really are. In terms of from a Nokia perspective, of course, the hardware, all the acceleration on the CPU, the memory, the graphics, it's all, the stuff we see in the labs is fantastic. The key is how to commercialize that. I think keep an eye out for sensors, NFC, RFID tags, on the hardware side. On the software side, I think the web runtime environment on top of all this platform, all these various platforms will be key for developers. And I think then the final comment would be the amount of data and then the learning in the cloud that will be available is going to be extraordinary. In particular because it will sit on this location fabric. And when you combine the physical with the virtual and you have this data set that grows and grows and gets smarter the more people that use it, the innovation opportunities are just phenomenal. The only limit is the limit of the human imagination on what to do with that data. I think that's super, super exciting. So I think, as always, the technology advancements are racing ahead of our ability to commercialize that. And the key then is how do we close that gap to commercialize this scientific innovation, so to speak.
Thanks, Tom. Well, that's a good segue to you. You're doing cloud services, right? So tell us a little bit about what you see in the future.
So I think there's a number of trends that sort of point to cloud being, cloud computing, true client server computing anywhere you are, now being an explosive opportunity looking forward. First is this massively wide proliferation of broadband, especially once we get into the 4G arena. You now have true ubiquity of effectively Wi-Fi. Today I use my WiMAX card in the States. There's many cases where I simply don't even connect to the Wi-Fi in the hotel. So I have broadband everywhere. Then you take that and you couple it with all of these extremely powerful devices, You know, today I have a whole collection of smartphones here.
You don't use
And-
those
have
all
too
at
many
once.
phones.
And in fact, sorry to say, I'm missing a Nokia one. And can I keep this?
Yes.
And the thing is that's even expanding. You know, before it was the PC that you wanted to access things on, and now it's these PCs that you carry everywhere with you that you have access to all of the time. And so that also includes non-PC devices like the iPad and you know, now TVs are wirelessly connected, and you know, you should view 4G as something that is, you know, it's the ubiquitous availability of Wi-Fi even that is driving massive connectivity. And then finally, this combines into the need for a true multi-screen world. And therefore, you know, when your TV's connected, your smartphone's connected, your PC's connected, your iPad's connected, your need to have access to all of the tools, the applications, and from my point of view, the media that you use and own, everywhere you are, whenever you are, tailored to the device you're on, especially in this diverse world. It's not like Microsoft was where they had 95%, right? Each one of these guys has a nice chunk of the market, right? So this diverse world, how do you deliver to that? Well, you take everything and you put it up into the network as much as possible. You process it up in the network so you're not burning battery power and CPU power down at the handset level and shoving a lot of stuff across the network. So it just makes logical sense now that you have a big pipe to now utilize the facilities that are sitting up there in the network as much as you do the handset. A smart relationship between the two is what's important.
Mm-hmm.